Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, patriots all over our country that is under God, welcome to tonight's Red America First Town Hall, the nation's #1 most engaging platform where we, the people, run the show. Red for the blood of Christ, America First policies and candidates. I'm your host, Ashley Weiss. Welcome to our town hall tonight. We're going to gather with patriots all over the nation to discuss critical issues and hear from inspiring voices every Thursday night. For 3 years, Red America First has been a beacon for the unheard Americans, championing the values of faith, freedom, and family. Our mission is to empower communities, advocate for America First policies, and ensure the voices of all Americans are heard.
And I'm your co-host, Valerie Weiss. Tonight we have Joe Larson, who is a TikTok influencer, Shawn, Hendrix, who is in Gaston County, North Carolina, and is helping with the disaster relief. And lastly, a Red America First member of Georgia, Connell, who was affected by the Hurricane Helene. But first, we have exciting announcements to make. Our website is still under construction, but our store is up and running. So go there and check it out. There's lots of cool stuff there. Next week, get ready. We will be having Don Thornhill and then on October 29th, which is a Tuesday, not a Thursday, just because of scheduling issues. We're having Derek Johnson back on to give us an update about what's going on with the military and the executive orders. We're still working on RFK Jr. and Gene Ho. They're having scheduled conflicts with us as well. And
big announcement.
Yep.
We'll starting our new religious podcast, which is called Pastor's Point. This is a podcast where it's going to teach and encourage others in the truth and the knowledge of Jesus Christ. Our goal is to share the gospel of Christ in truth and love, to grow in knowledge of the Word of God, and encourage all to adhere to biblical principles. So we're going to have that. We're going to discuss that in more detail. And after Thanksgiving, we're going to have...
I can't hear you. We're on mute. Oh, no.
Wow, let's start that over again. I did not know we were muted. Holy shizen. Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, patriots all over the country that is under God, welcome to tonight's Red America First Town Hall, the nation's #1 most engaging platform where we, the people, run the show. Red for the blood of Christ, America First policies and candidates, and I'm your host, Ashley Weiss. Welcome to our National Town Hall, where we gather with patriots across the nation to discuss critical issues and hear from inspiring voices every Thursday night. For 3 years, Red America First has been a beacon for the unheard Americans, championing the values of faith, freedom, and family. Our mission is to empower communities, advocate for America First policies, and ensure the voices of all Americans are heard.
And I'm your co-host, Valerie Weiss. Tonight we have Joe Larson, who is a TikTok influencer, Shawn Hendrix, who is in Gaston County, North Carolina, and he's helping with the disaster relief. And lastly, a Red America First member in Georgia, Connell, who was affected by the Hurricane Helene. But first, we have exciting announcements to make. Our website is still under construction, so it doesn't look the greatest, but our store is up and running. So definitely go check it out. Lots of cool stuff there. Next week, we're going to be having Don Thornhill again to discuss the health, your natural health stuff. And then on October 29th, which is a Tuesday, we will be having Derek Johnson to give us an update of what's going on. We're still working on RFK Jr. and Gene Ho, but the scheduling is kind of complicated.
And a big announcement, we're starting a new religious podcast, which is going to be called Pastor's Point. Pastor Aaron Gray and others are going to be involved with this activity. And this podcast is meant to teach and encourage others in the truth of the knowledge of Jesus Christ. Our goal is to share the gospel of Christ in truth and love, to grow in the knowledge of the Word of God, and encourage all to adhere to the biblical principles. and our desires to expose the enemy's darkness and deception at work in this world by engaging others in discussion, the truth found in Christ. So that's coming the Thursday after Thanksgiving. We're going to start the It's About All About Jesus Christ series, and it's going to be leading up. The first 2 Thursdays after Thanksgiving will be here, but then we're going to shift everyone to go on the Mondays for Pastor's Point. Okay, so we're going to let everyone on the Thursday see what it's like, and we're going to transition it to Mondays, and we're going to start having guests on after the new year. So Pastor Aaron Gray's leading that up. Amen to that. Friendly reminder to all those that are watching, okay, we do this every Thursday, and then we would like those to get screened and join the panel that gets to engage with guest speakers. We've had people like Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. Robert Malone, General Flynn, Mike McCormick, and a lot of good guest speakers. So please join the website RedAmericaFirst.com, and also to help donate. So that's givesendgo.com/donate /RedAmericaFirst/donate. Even $20 could help us. Thank you so much.
For those joining the live stream, tune in for an engaging and informative evening as we work to amplify the voices of the unheard Americans and build a brighter future for our nation. Join us every Thursday night.
Everyone, let's start with prayer. Pastor Aaron Gray is going to lead us in prayer tonight. Thank you so much in advance, Pastor. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you guys for having me here. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, we come before your throne. We thank you for all you've done for us. We thank you for the very fact that we can come here, Lord. We know that there are many around this area in the southeast of the United States still being hurt by the hurricane and what happened with Helene that come through here, Lord. We just pray that you are with them, you encourage them, you strengthen them, Lord, and you help those who are trying to help them. You give them all the help they need, getting to them and finding them and bringing them food and water and power and everything that they need, Father. We just pray, Lord, that you are with them here and now. And Lord Jesus, I pray that as we come together tonight to do this talk, as we come together to talk about America and the policies here, I ask you, Lord, to remind us to still in our hearts that it is about you. We seek you first, Father, you foremost, Lord Jesus, that what we have, what we desire, what we strive for should always point others to you. And that is our desire here. We thank you for this, and we ask you just to be with us, strengthen us tonight. In the name of Jesus, we all said, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for that, Pastor. Always helping us out. Thank you for that, Pastor Gray. Now, Valerie is also one of the co-founders of Red America First. She's going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you so much in advance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice and liberty for all. Or liberty and justice for all, sorry.
Leslie, you're up for the National Anthem. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley and Valerie. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, see, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
amazing job, Leslie, always. She is the state director for Oklahoma for Red America First. Amazing vocalist. Thank you so much for doing that tonight. Wow, what a way to start this interview with Joe Larson, who is a TikTok influencer, getting the truth out to the masses. Thank you for so much for coming on. Before we drill into the interview, sir, I want to show the very video and the reason why we brought you on tonight. So let me pull that up for everyone here, and I'm going to share my screen and get right into this because, oh my gosh, I love truthers, and this man is a truther, everybody. So those that have TikTok, make sure you guys are following at Joe Anybody, and there's no space, all right? So let me pull up the video, share it with everyone. It's just taking 1 second to get my system ready. And sharing my screen now.
This flooding in North Carolina.
And here we go. I'm going to make sure I don't screw up today. Here we go. Share. Now you guys should be able to see my left screen here, or my right screen. So let me move these things over here. And let's go.
This flooding in North Carolina does not sit well with me. I think something's going on. So I decided to do some digging. So the first thing I find out is North Carolina has the richest deposits of lithium in the entire world. Yeah, lithium for like cars, batteries, all that. Then I find out they have the world's highest purity quartz deposits. And that quartz just so happens to be the world's supply for AI chips, microchips, and all kinds of stuff. We're talking a $530 billion industry. So this is where it gets interesting. So a company by the name of Piedmont Lithium is awaiting a state mining permit for a site in northern Gaston County. And Gaston County is completely flooded right now. The project was awaiting zoning approval because they were getting backlash from the residents and also city officials. And this lithium mine they want would be the third largest producer of lithium in the world. And they made a deal with Tesla already. Now remember the quartz? So in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, right next to Ashland, they are wanting to expand their mines even larger. And the residents aren't having it either. Enter the floods. People, these are mountain towns. It rarely, if not ever, floods in the mountains. I would know, I grew up in the mountains in Colorado, which means none of these people have flood insurance. I mean, the media is saying biblical devastation in North Carolina, aka like the worst thing that could happen, and you're not coming back from it. Read between the lines, people. Everything happens for a reason. This flooding in North Carolina does not sit well with me. I think
now, before we get into the Q&A with you, Joe, tell us a little bit about you. Where did you grow up? Tell us where you're at now. We're so excited to talk to you tonight. Thank you for coming on Red America First.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Seriously. So I grew up in Colorado. Okay. I grew up in between the mountains, the foothills, and in the plains. So I was all over Colorado. And I eventually moved out to Ohio when I was in high school and ended up meeting my wife out here. And I've been out here ever since. But basically, my whole story is I was in restaurant management for 15 plus years and I couldn't handle it anymore because it was getting so terrible, which is a whole nother story. But I decided to go to social media because I thought, hey, you know, I've got things to say. So I started doing that and I started getting more and more into it. And the deeper I got, the more I found out. And I started just looking for the truth. I became a truth seeker. So, and that is my daily job. That is all I do. So I read about 150 articles a day. So I am just constantly combing through everything I possibly can. Also, AI helps quite a bit. So, but other than that, you know, it's really the best way I can describe it is it's eyes wide shut. Okay. This country is eyes wide shut. We are walking around. It's all right in front of us, but we can't see it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, that's basically my story, and I'm sticking with it, keeping going with it. So,
well, thank you for telling us a little bit about you. Well, our first question, after your research in North Carolina, And considering the recent events in Maui, do you think there's a possibility of a land grab occurring at all, or what are your thoughts?
Absolutely, 100%. If you want to be completely honest, 100%, yes. I feel like what you need to understand is that there is a massive lithium battle going on in the world right now. Okay, I've spoke with scientists, I've spoke with numerous people, professors, stuff like that, that have been researching lithium since 2013. Basically, what they're saying is this is a massive gold rush for lithium. Okay, what is going on is that Russia, some other countries, Pakistan, India, China, they're all getting together. They're getting their deposits together, and they are trying to become the world leader of lithium. So, of course, America is going to freak out. Now, the one thing is that lithium mine in Galveston, okay, which is Kings Mountain, okay, which is a large lithium mine that used to be operational back in the 50s up until I almost say 70s, 80s. So lithium wasn't worth anything back there because, we didn't need it for anything. We didn't use it for anything. So basically, this is like, it's a battle to get as much as possible and get as much in our deposits as possible. And I feel like this was the perfect storm and the perfect way to say it. So
in the light of COVID and concerns about vaccinations and depopulation, do you believe there might be an intention to just wipe out the people in that area? When you connect the dots, kind of like you did, this all adds up to the same agenda, right? They have the agenda of depopulation. They have the agenda of having access to these precious minerals and lithium and quartz mining. According to the research you did, the only thing getting in the way was the people and the permits.
Exactly. And it wasn't just the people, it was environmentalists, okay? Because you have to understand lithium mining is terrible for the wildlife, okay? It's terrible for humans, okay? It affects your respiratory system. It's not good. The waste from it is terrible, okay? Now, another thing that I didn't happen to throw in my video, and this is just another little tidbit because I made a video and it was actually taken down. They are trying to make a mega site, okay? A 3,100 acre mega site, okay? And this is going to be right in the northwestern part of Asheville and Burke County, okay? You can look it up. Now, this mega site is an industrial site. It's a manufacturing site. This is where they want to manufacture all this stuff, okay? Wow. Guess who's been giving them pushback? The residents, the city. They're going, no, we don't need a mega site. We don't want to hear this all day. We don't want all these fumes. We don't want all this.
Oh, wow.
It's underwater right now. It's underwater right now. I just spoke with somebody today. Burke County still is completely flooded.
Wow.
So riddle me that one,
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's all pieced together. It all pieces together. I mean, you've got. They were gonna with this mega site. There's railroads. I mean, they're building railroads. Okay, from these mines to this mega site, and then to northeastern Tennessee, where they process it even more. It's a whole racket. It's a racket.
Man, that's crazy. Well, given the historical interest in Gaston County for its lithium and quartz deposits, could the government or local authorities have intentionally mismanaged or delayed flood prevention measures to clear the area for mining interests?
Yes.
So
yes,
it's lied to them about the flooding and everything.
It's really crazy to me because I went as far as to look. There's a FEMA, the FEMA.gov website, okay, that you can go to where they go and survey all the pieces of land in every state, okay, and they decide on the severity of the flood threat, okay, in that area, correct? So these areas that all got hit, okay, I looked at every single one. I looked at about 15 different cities, okay, and like probably 6 counties. Every single one of them had an X, and what the X meant was the point there, and everything around it was not flood accessible. There was a 0.2% chance of a flood. Okay, wow. Yeah. So I lived in the foothills of the mountains. I called my parents. I said, hey, did we have flood insurance when we lived in the foothills? They go, no, never did we have. But why? It doesn't flood in the foothills. I called my grandparents. They lived in Bailey, Colorado, way up in the mountains. I go, did you ever have flood insurance? Why would we need flood insurance, Shell? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
It
So,
doesn't.
yeah.
So, given Piedmont Lithium's plans for Gaston County, could the recent flooding have been intensified by negligence or covert deals to lower land values, aiding in the corporate land acquisition? Because we're kind of aligning with what you found.
Okay, so with the corporate land acquisitions, okay, now get this. So allegedly, okay, but I'm pretty sure it's true. The federal government is all in on this. You know what I mean? They're the ones that are taking the land. You know, from what I've heard, I literally just spoke with someone from Chimney Rock. Okay, I'm sure everybody knows about Chimney Rock. Okay, North Carolina, completely destroyed. Okay, historical town. Just spoke with someone there. They just had a powwow. You know, they had a type of situation like this with the community. And a federal person had came to the meeting and said, basically, you all have to leave. You have to leave everything behind. And the worst of it all is they said that there are bodies everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
Everywhere.
That's
The
horrible.
bodies, they said the body count is absurd. It's pennies to what it actually really is. And they said the stench of the death is so bad. Like multiple, I've had just today, okay, so I had my video taken down from TikTok about 5 hours ago because this thing had gone so viral, okay? I've had 300 messages, direct messages, going, oh my gosh, where's your video? This is what's happening. You have to let people know. You have to let people know. We're dying.
Yeah,
We're dying.
yeah.
We're talking about children, elderly, okay? I mean, you know,
It's heartbreaking.
animals, the poor animals. I mean, it's just, and they're doing nothing about it. And then all of a sudden, if I made a video just today about how FEMA said they ran out of money. So riddle me that one. So, okay, so we just sweep this all under the rug?
Right.
Doesn't make
Wow.
sense.
No, it's terrible.
It is. It's inhumane.
It
So-
really is. It really is. So, well, would it be possible that weather modification technologies like cloud seeding or HARP were used to intensify Hurricane Helene's effects over Gaston County, or just over that whole region, or even just down here in Florida? I mean, what are your thoughts about that? About HARP?
No. Absolutely, because first off, when I'm very privy to hurricanes. I have family that live in Orlando. Okay, so I know all about them. You know, people in Orlando, people in Florida don't care about hurricanes. They're like, whatever, happens all the time. Okay, they're very. It's like us. It's like people in Ohio with blizzards. We don't care. You know, it's okay. We'll live. But what I was going to say was, was that basically what they said was when it hit them just like a normal, you know, F3, F4. Or I'm sorry, E3, E4, whatever they call it, hurricane hit landfall like normal. Okay, it was like a normal landfall when it hit. So, but what really surprises me, and HARP, God, I completely believe in it, because the crazy thing is usually these hurricanes break up by the time they get to, you know,
Yeah.
I'd say past Georgia, you know, past maybe Georgia will get hit most of the time. It just happens, you know, they're kind of in the line of fire, but as it kept going up, you know, it's interesting to me because it was very warm, and it was also like I saw a lot of weather maps, okay? And if you could see all the little cloud bursts in these areas, it's unreal. And I watched a video the other day, and this was very interesting. They're finding these blue jelly beads, okay? They're like Orbeez, okay? And what they actually did was they're like all over the place in these areas, okay? These little jelly beads. And so what they did was they took these and they tested them, okay, real quick to see what they were. And it was a type of chemical. It's poly something, some kind of chemical. But what it does is it heats the air around it, Okay. And we all know that thunderstorms feed off heat. Rain feeds off heat. Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you're from the Midwest, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. You've got a bad storm and it's warm out. It's going to be worse. So what I think happened was, and you guys, this happened at night. Okay. You can't see planes flying over the place when it's pitch dark out,
Right.
It's just very coincidental. Very coincidental. And just the amount of rain. I mean, I'm hearing 33 inches in like a matter of hours,
Wow.
30. I mean, that's in the dead of night, like 9, 10 o'clock, just boom. What do you do?
Yeah.
So
They didn't have any kind of heads up, really.
zero warning,
Yeah.
zero warning. And I don't know. And then that factory, I don't know if anybody's heard about the factory where all those people died because the factory wouldn't let them go home
Oh my
because
God.
they said in Asheville, because they said they didn't think the flood was bad enough. And there was like 8 people that ended up drowning.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It's a disaster. It's a
really
disaster.
is.
So
we're gonna have those that are watching the live stream here on Red America First Town Hall. Those that are in the town hall will be able to engage with Joe, anybody, TikTok influencer here just in a little bit. And it's going to be from any state. So please make sure you guys are signing up, RedAmericaFirst.com. Next question we have for you, Joe, is what investigations into local government or corporate ties and emergency responses might uncover such potential schemes? Because, when you peel the onion and you look at Maui and you look at what's going on in the western part of North Carolina, you got to question the motives here.
you do got to question the motives, but we live in a country that's really, really good about covering shit up. Excuse my language. They are really good at making things disappear, kind of like Maui. So I feel like Maui was a land grab. Just kind of a side note, it was a land grab, but I feel like it was a personable land grab. I don't think it was the government that wanted it. It was a person. I'm not going to say who it is, but I looked into that whole thing. A girl actually ended up not like being alive anymore because she was digging so hard into the Maui thing. So, but we'll leave that alone. But this thing right here, I mean, this is it's the essential. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And they're just going to show you what they want to show you. Okay, like looking, for example, my video gone by, got rid of it. 5 million views in less than 48 hours.
Wow.
Okay. And I was on Instagram with, I think, maybe 5 or 6 million. I mean, it was spreading like wildfire, and then they just stop it. This is
It's terrible.
Don't you think that's unfair? I mean,
Yeah.
it's so unfair.
I've been doing
It
this for
really is.
years, and I use TikTok to help promote our show and touch a younger generation. By the way, how old are you?
I'm 37.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're targeting a younger generation on TikTok, and I built 12,000 followers in like 40 days, and then they'll permanently ban you. In 40 days to get that many followers, that's tough.
That's very tough.
And,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
they just
Yes.
shut me down, and then all the way back to zero. It's like, oh my God. So,
Yeah.
Rosemarie, Florida, go ahead with your question. And then Sabina, Texas is on deck. Wendy, Oklahoma is after Sabina. Go ahead, Rosemarie. Thank you.
Have you been able to ascertain some of these blue jelly beans, whatever they're called,
Beautiful.
and have them analyzed so that there is some kind of definitive proof as to what is going on, where they are coming from, to define this problem? Because if it is in fact being done purposely, then I think we have to find out, and there has to be some investigation.
So I've got what exactly happened actually was this first started over in the UK. Okay. They were supposedly experimenting over there in the UK, and people had found these beads as well. Okay. And that is where they had done the lab work on the beads to see exactly what was in them. I wish I would have wrote it down. It was a polychemical. Okay. And usually any polychemicals are going to be something that has to do with cooling or with heating. Okay. So they tested them 100% for sure in the UK. You can look it up. There's plenty of articles. There's medical I'm sorry, science articles as well that show it in there, the research. But they did test them, and that's what they're finding. So people have found them in Tennessee, I know for a fact, and I know they have found them also around North Carolina. But that, it seems like, and another weird thing I noticed as well is it was a chain reaction type event. I noticed what happened was Tennessee had gotten hit so hard, and then the dams failed. Okay, all these dams failed. Whatever they tell you, these dams failed. Every single one of them. Okay, none of them broke, but they failed. So as they failed, it was just, I mean, it was just like a domino effect. Boom, 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 boom. The water, the water, the water. So it seems like the concentration of what people are telling me is it was in Tennessee is where they're finding them.
Sabina, Texas, you're up. Thank you.
Hi, Joe. Thank you for being here. So I was just looking online while you were talking from the very start, and I see that Piedmont Lithium, somebody posted, MSN posted 16 hours ago that the best Russell 2000 stock to buy, according to the analysis, is Piedmont Lithium Inc., right? Okay, so, but then you also said that, quartz is also big in North Carolina. Which is it that they're, Russia and the other countries are fighting over as far as this goes? And the reason I ask is I know that lithium also is good for health, but they use it. I don't know if it's good for you. They use it in medical treatments for depression and other things. And then they also use it in batteries, right? So which is it, do you think, out of the two, as far as quartz and lithium, or both, that the other countries that are also into it are looking at it most?
Okay, so I would say 100% the lithium. Okay, the lithium is it. Okay, that is the gold mine. Okay, that's what they all want. That's what the battle of the war of the worlds is right now, is lithium. The quartz gives us an upper edge, okay, because obviously AI chips are going nuts right now, okay, and enter Taiwan, okay. So it's facts. We do have the largest deposit of pure quartz, okay, which there's quartz all over the world. Okay, you can find it everywhere. To find pure quartz is just, it's not anywhere. So that could be a secret little thing on the side, but I think lithium for sure. I know for lithium, the medication, they get lithium, the medication lithium is more of a salt. Okay, it comes as a salt. All right. Lithium they're mining up. What they do is they pump tons and tons and tons of water into it, okay, until it starts to evaporate. And then it comes up as almost like a powder. All right. Now, what this does is it completely depletes water supplies by, like whatever. That's why they want to build them by lakes and by rivers and all this, because they need the water, you guys. These are all strategic areas. You know what I mean? And I know for a fact now, Nevada is got a stockpile of lithium. Okay, so that was the only thing that was kind of keeping us in the game at that point, But I feel that we got pushed to a point where this, I guess, had to happen, at least in America, at least in the government size. So
thank you for that question, Sabina, Texas. Now we're going to go to Oklahoma. Wendy, Oklahoma, go ahead. She's our election integrity leader, and Rosemarie was our editor-in-chief for our newsletter. Go ahead, Wendy, unmute, and you're up.
Hi, Joe. Great TikTok, great research, actually. I've done similar research, and I'm glad to see that somebody that has viral capabilities was able to put this together in such a manner. So I appreciate that video. That was very well done. Project Cirrus, have you looked into that? Project Cirrus and Project Storm Fury, that was General Electric and the US government back in the 1940s, where they were attempting to alter hurricane paths. And did you happen to look into that as part of your research? I'm also a geologist, by the way, so I'm all about the lithium and everything else.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh my gosh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I've heard of them, yes, but I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to them. I'm more obviously I'm very hip to HARP. I'm very hip to the weather modification as of these days, like cloud seeding and all that stuff. But I mean, you've got chemical trails as well, which they do nowadays. So but no, I have not, I'm not actually very knowledgeable in that, I'll be completely honest. But I think, when it comes to this situation, why I wouldn't think it would have to do with that is because of just the sheer amount of rain. You know what I mean? The sheer amount of water. Okay. And for it to build that much. And I mean, it just, and if I have a friend who's a meteorologist, and usually when a hurricane comes in, it will usually start to fade within, I would say a state's worth. Okay. It will fade down into maybe a thunderstorm. You'll get winds, you know what I mean? You'll get some rain, but just the sheer amount of rain and the sheer amount of it, just concentration. If you go on TikTok, look up the weather on during the hurricane, like the flood. There's a woman that made a viral video and she shows the maps of the 3 days of when it rained. And I mean, it is just incredible, like just the area that it covered. But yeah, I wouldn't know much about those. So
we have the next question coming in from one of our pillar leaders in Red America First. His name's Migeso. He's in the state of Hawaii, and he's leading our corruption department. Migeso, you're up. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. There's a lot to unpackage here. You mentioned Lahaina and a land grab. Well, that was a land grab on steroids.
Oh, yeah.
That was also about smart cities, mineral rights, children. So there's a lot there. You mentioned the clouds and the anomalies we'd see in the clouds. Well, we had that here during Lahaina, where there was like lasers shooting in through the clouds to specific spots.
Yes, 3 different spots. Yeah.
So direct energy weapons, HARP involved, and of course we're under the biggest cover-up in the state of Hawaii taking place now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Also, we've been warned many times to watch the water. By Trump and other officials. We also know that the global initiative was taking place in New York recently during Trump's assassination attempt, for example. In your opinion, if you look as you have at the states and various things, if you look across the United States and across the world, do you think this is all part of the global initiative and the takedown of America by bad actors in the deep state?
That was one thing I didn't connect.
Gosh, there's so many bad actors. There really are. You know what? I just feel like I don't know. I don't feel like it's the collapse of America. I don't feel like it will be, you know what I mean? But the problem is this Green Deal. Okay. So we got into this Green Deal and now we're in a trench, okay, with this Green Deal. Okay. And we have started this whole thing with electric cars and it is just a nightmare. Okay. So, and the fact that also lithium is used in so many other things, in so many electronics and devices. So basically it seems like it's all coming down to tech. It's all coming down to computer chips. It's coming down to batteries. It's coming down to all that. I think this is, I used to believe in New World Order. I used to think that was what was the plan for this world. I thought that's what was going to happen. But the more and more I see things happen, especially, like Maui, it was just like, it makes me wonder because it seems like there's, everything happens for a reason in this country. Everything happens for a reason. And I feel like, I don't think anybody, like you said, I do think they're coming after us. I do. I think the world's coming after us because they're just, I mean, they've started their own currency. I don't know if you guys have heard of the currency they've all invested in, right? Saudi Arabia, everybody, right? This coin. I mean, they're backing it with all the riches and treasures that you can imagine. I mean, they've got more money than you can believe. But I do believe like it is like a race. And I feel like America was, like I said, so desperate enough to go and just kill their own people and just literally, and that's that. And you know what? At least it'll get us ahead of the game. And like I said, Piedmont is a very, very shady company. Very shady company. Look into Piedmont. You want to see some backwards corrupt stuff? Look up the Piedmont, okay? But they, like I said, they're in on this. They signed a 5-year deal with Tesla, 5 years, okay? They want to start production in 25, 26. So we're already locking things in, guys. You know what I mean? We're already like, here we go, you know, but it's just, it's terrible. It's disgusting. So, and you know what? And God bless you out there in Hawaii. I have family in Hawaii as well. And that was just devastating, you know, and I just feel like this is definitely very similar, just a different type of, you know, annihilation. So
Very true. Now a question coming from Bob, Florida. Go ahead, Bob. Thank you so much for asking the question today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ashley, first of all, I want to let you know in the chat, I posted someone recorded Alexa stating that this entire thing was set up by the federal government. You might want to play that Alexa recording because Alexa says it. That the whole federal government did the whole thing.
Now, just remember a couple things with your little speakers. We can always tell it a special command, and when we tell it a special command, we could tell it to repeat something. So be careful about those things because people could set them up. But thank you for sharing.
All right. So the question I have, and thank you for what you do with our guest here tonight. But what do you know, or have you done any research on the government stopping all the relief efforts? I'm reading here right now. Laura Loomer just posted they got the helicopters sitting in South Carolina, and they're ordering to be grounded. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth. There's no one there. There's no one there. They've got the donkeys that you see going up the mountains there to their stuff. Those are nonprofits. That's not FEMA. That's not the government. The government is not helping. They have the only people that I have heard that have been flown into these places are high-ranking government officials in black suits. Okay, that's who's getting in here. That's it. Now, what I've also been told was, now there was a flood back, I guess, 20, 30 some years ago, and there's a ton of Army Reserve heavy equipment that they use to get in there and help people out and so. It's just sitting there. You can see with your own eyes, it's just sitting there. They're doing nothing, you guys. I don't know. And I don't understand why no one's doing anything about it. I don't understand. I'm curious as to why Oprah or anybody hasn't stood up for this one, you know, for this tragedy. You're talking people who have had no power or water or food in almost 5 days, 4 or 5 days. I mean, what are we going to do here? And they're going, I had someone tell me that the pastor of a church in one of the towns was ordering water, right, to get flown in. They're dropping, like they're getting airdropped insulin, okay, into there for people and shit. And they're paying thousands of dollars for this to happen so they don't die, you know? So they're doing like, you know, the residents are. So, I mean, they're talking about people coming in. This pastor said, I need as much water as I possibly can. He ended up putting back half the water he ordered and ordered body bags because there's so many bodies and they can't stand to see all these bodies everywhere. And I just think it's ridiculous. Of course, the mainstream media is not going to show any of this. I have not seen anything. I've seen nothing going on in North Carolina. I've seen barely anything going on in Tennessee. And then Kamala Harris is down in Georgia because early voting, right?
Yeah.
Forget people suffering and dying. It's almost election time, right?
Yeah. We also have HIV positive Pete Buttigieg ordered drones to stop flying.
I mean,
that's a
how
fuck,
much
ain't
more
it?
blatant? How much more blatant can this get? I mean, how much more blatant? And it's funny because usually the government's pretty good at covering shit up. They're really good. Like they're pretty good at it. You know, they've been doing it for a long time. So, but it's crazy to me that like it's so blatant in our faces. Like, look, we don't care. We don't care. We're not going to do anything about it, and you're not going to hear about it. But unfortunately, what they don't realize is there's social media. Okay, and social media is the devil to these people. They hate it. They hate social media. They're like, no, 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 don't wake up. No one wake up, please, please. You know, but you know what? They're waking up. And I'll tell you what, my demographic, okay, is I reach out. I have more kids from 18 to 27 that watch my videos, okay, just purely for news. All I get is a comment saying, all I know is I go to you for the news. I go to you to see what's going on, because they don't believe the news. They don't believe the media. They don't believe the president. They don't believe any of them, okay? They've grown up to question everything thanks to social media. So I don't know, man. I don't know. And maybe the government's just like, you know, who cares? You know, they're all woke anyways, whatever. What are they going to do about it? You know, but it's just too bad, you know, because that's not how the Constitution was made. It's not how the Declaration of Independence was made. It was made for the people to run, to govern. Okay. The people govern this country, not anyone else. We make the decisions, but unfortunately we're not in that position right now. So
we got a question coming from Ohio. Rob, Ohio, go ahead. But we don't see you anymore, Rob. Go ahead.
How you doing, Joe?
What's going on, Rob?
Which part of Ohio are you in?
I am in Strongsville, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm in Strongsville, and I lived in up in Avon Lake area for a long time.
Nice area. Did you happen to find anything about the German atmospheric research that was going on down in the Caribbean right when the hurricane, the storm came through before it intensified?
No, I did not. I did not. No.
Yeah, there's a guy I listen to on YouTube that tracks these kind of flights, and he called it before it even happened. This looks like some kind of weather modification.
Right.
So, but that would explain why, you know, it was acting weird.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to comment on, you were comparing where you grew up at to Tennessee, that area. That's the Appalachians versus the Rockies.
Much different. Much different.
Yeah, we have haulers.
Yes.
And
I would more so. Yeah, I would more so relate it to when I lived in the foothills of the Rockies. You know what I mean? It's not as, you know, up there, not as elevated, but
the Appalachians don't really squeeze out the rain like the Rockies do.
Yeah.
But flash floods is not unknown, but it was the amount of the water that came down that really caused it. And that's why so many people had no way to, you know, you could get a flash flood and not have rain.
Yeah.
In the Appalachians. So
no, that's true.
I just wanted to make sure that you knew that. You know.
Oh yes, thank you. No, I appreciate it, and I did have a lot of people say that too as well. They said it bowls a lot in the Appalachians. So I totally understand. I think, like you said though too, I agree with you. It's the amount of rain. It's unheard of, and the timing at night. It was just weird.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of strange things going on, you know, but the quartz mines, that's an ultra high quartz content, ultra pure. Those are used to make the crucibles to melt the silicone for the chips. And that's worth billions right there.
Yeah, over $500 billion industry. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's huge. It's huge. And that's what I said. I think that's our leg up right now, is the fact that we have that right now. And the fact that they're expanding it. I think they're expanding that mine. They had proposed northern by Asheville, another 1,200 acres for that mine, because there was more they had found. So, obviously, it's just
with AI coming on board, they're going to be needing much more different computation. So, that would explain a whole lot.
And that quartz too, Rob, is I think as far as I know, is 98% of the world's high concentrated quartz. That's where they get it, is out of there. So, I mean, yeah, it's a money pit. It's a money pit.
So
It's
we
a
got
money maker, that's for sure.
We got
Okay.
two more questions coming in. Go back with Megeso in Hawaii, and then I lied. Three more questions, and then Misty, Georgia, and then we're gonna do one closure, and then we're gonna transition to Shawn Hendrix in North Carolina. Go ahead, Megeso in Hawaii, with your go back. Thank you.
Yeah, we heard the people of North Carolina only had a day's notice. And Mayorkas also said that FEMA is running out of money because most of it's been diverted to the immigrants and all the free medical and things that they get. When we had the disaster in Lahaina, the local people were coming in on boats, bringing supplies, helicopters if they could, etc., and they shut us down. Now we're also hearing reports out of North Carolina of local people or local helicopters trying to go in and deliver goods, and they're also being stopped and threatened with jail time if they help the people. Have you heard that?
I've heard the same thing. Yes, absolutely. From multiple people. Yeah. Saying that they've talked to family that were outside of these zones that saw the shipments coming in to help them, and they were all stopped. So yeah, they're wiping everybody out. So it's terrible, but I did hear the same thing about the helicopters as well. I know that I think they cut off airspace in that area. I don't think they're letting anyone fly over. I have been checking regularly every morning, every night for any photo updates, anything I can possibly find. And I'm seeing less and less and less. And it's making me wonder, like, where are these people? You know what I mean? Because they all had phones, but then at the same time, they have no power. So as soon as your phone dies, that's that. You can't record anything. You can't share it to the world. So, and like you said, I mean, we were talking about the drones, no drones flying over. Why not? Why can't we? What's the problem? There's no, so yeah, I feel like they're cutting them off. I feel like they're cutting them off too.
That's a good question from Hawaii, Megeso. So thank you so much for that. Misty in Georgia, go ahead with your question. Thank you so much.
Well, it's not more of a question, it's more of a statement, which is thank you for doing your part and getting the information out.
Thank you. I
Making
appreciate
people aware. And then I want to thank God because I've been hiking in the Appalachian trails, all the way down from Indiana on my way to Florida as much as I could. And I was actually headed to Gatlinburg and instead decided to go to Lookout Mountain instead. And then this hit in Georgia, where I'm at in Dublin. They got hit really bad. Georgia's supposed to be considered a blue state, but not the three that got hit, not Vidalia, not Augusta, and then not here in Dublin. It's very, very conservative.
Yeah.
Areas. Yeah. Just pointing that out. But we still have no power. Updates on here. The military was at the schools handing out finally today, water, ice, tarps, because a lot of people's houses are, toast. We had many tornadoes along with 102, I think was the record on the winds. Mm-hmm. Might have been 108. I could be mistaken. But it was devastating here.
Those were
and it was the people helping people.
Yeah. The tornadoes, I thought that was interesting.
Well, it wasn't just the tornadoes. Also, we've had boom trucks from Atlanta and a couple other, Pennsylvania and a couple other states down here to help. But they were all on standby until you can get the trees off the lines. Yeah. And then they were setting up new poles and then picking up the lines. Well, on our interstates and highways, we had tractors, picking up the trees, doing, clearing the roads so that we can get by at least. Mm-hmm. And but power is finally being restored.
Oh, thank God. Well, God bless you.
Luckily they had generators, so it's not been too bad here.
Good.
Thank you so much.
My heart goes out to you guys.
Misty. Thank you for that. Whitney, Florida. Do you have a question for Joe? Anybody? Go ahead and unmute. We appreciate you, and then Frank.
No,
No, I'm just listening in, and I've been following Joe on Facebook and TikTok, and it's just very unsettling. I'm so sorry about this. I have an aunt and uncle up in the I think they're in Hickory, North Carolina. But I guess they're okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody's going to get to them. But they've at least been able to let us know they're okay. So
That's good. That's good.
All right, guys. So I just gotta ask Joe one more question here.
Yeah.
Would you be open to the idea of coming back to Red America First?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've really enjoyed my time on here. You guys have been great. So I would love to come back
really
on.
appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank
Yeah,
you so
no
much.
problem.
Thank you very much.
And you can hang tight. Here's how this is going to go down. We're going to start talking with Shawn Hendrix. He's on the ground there in North Carolina. Then we're going to talk to one of our members that actually got impacted by the storm. And what we do is we open it up to state intel. So those that are listening in on the live stream, this is a true town hall. It's just virtual, and we would love for everyone to come on. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Ashley.
Yeah, Frank, you could ask your question to Joe real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, thanks for what you're doing.
Hey,
I got some friends about 30, 40 minutes west of Boone. They got out yesterday, actually went to one of our friends' places because they don't have any power. But I mean, and I missed most of your dialogue here. What about the Army Reserves? I went on to X, went to all these Army Reserves. I saw like three states or whatnot, Florida, Tennessee, and something else with some activation. Now, what are you picking up on the Army Reserve stuff? Because in all the past kind of weather disasters, Katrina, et cetera, the Army Reserves were sent in once things had calmed down. Now, in Katrina, those floods, because of the levees, people couldn't get in for some time. What's the Army Reserve participation you're noticing or not noticing?
So I'm not noticing it. What I'm hearing from people there is there isn't any at all. We're being told that they're going there. I know Biden just spoke and said that they're sending, I think they were sending like 500, like a small amount, 500, 1,000, something like that. And, but that was like yesterday. And from everyone I've heard from, I mean, these people are literally messaging me and like calling me and stuff. And they are like in water, like they're standing in like 4 feet, 3 feet of water still, there's nobody there. There's nobody there. I know he said they were calling them in, but I do know, like you said, for a fact, yes, they are in Florida. I know there's some in Florida. I know they activated them. I know Georgia did. But as for it seems like for Tennessee and North Carolina, it is a no-go. And I have no clue where FEMA is. Like, where is FEMA? Like, you guys, you want to run in there every time, and I'm just like, and the problem is I feel so terrible because these nonprofits want to help, but, they don't have the equipment. They don't have the supplies. They don't have the machinery, the vehicles to get into these spots. But yeah, from what I've heard from everybody that's been talking to me out there, there's nobody. There's nothing. So.
Okay, perfect. Well, Joe, thank you so much for coming on Red America First tonight. We're going to transition out to Shawn Hendrix there on the ground. We're going to definitely keep in touch with you, Joe, and let's build a patriot relationship forever, okay?
Absolutely, Ashley. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So now we're going to transition to Shawn Hendrix. He's on the ground there. Shawn, holy smokes, from the things that we're seeing outside of the area of North Carolina, it's kind of unbelievable, but then at the same time, it's believable knowing that our government hasn't really been for America first compared to, giving money to Ukraine and other things. So just real quick, before we get into the details, tell us a little bit about you and how you ended up helping out everyone there in Western North Carolina. Thank you for coming on Red America First tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Um, I basically, just like anybody else in North Carolina, the hurricane hit us lightly. So since we were spared, I was like, I got to go up there and do something to help. Because I think there's a bit of a misconception too. FEMA, the government, they're not here to help you day one, day two. It's impossible. Stop expecting it. Expect a self-rescue, right? They're not going to be in your area. It's never been that way. It never will be that way. And so I think a lot of people have this expectation that a hurricane hits and then FEMA's knocking on your door tomorrow. That's not their role. It's going to be local fire, local PD. Your local neighbors are going to be that first, after moments when the storm blows away, right? There's just no other realistic expectation, right? And so we wanted to be part of that. And so I had heard that all the comms were down. I'm on a local fire department here, and they were just, the first thing I heard was comms are down just completely. And a friend of mine was reaching out. It's the Y'all Squad, and they had 30 Starlinks. They wanted to get into Asheville, North Carolina. And I said, I don't know, fly them to the airport. I'll meet you there. We'll figure it out. And it turns out we were kind of like the only Starlinks, day 2, day 3 of this event. Matter of fact, today we're still kind of the only ones putting them out there. As far as I know, I'm sure they're happening. We just haven't heard about it. And we started putting them out, getting fire stations back online. It's really awesome seeing how everybody's pulling together and it done. I started working with a company, a farmer who has these ag drones to lift stuff to these people. That was never shut down. Like nobody ever told us to stop. So I can't speak to that, but we also had there, right? So we're doing actual work. We're not just filming for, a lot of people are flying drones just for the sake of flying drones. That's not acceptable. There's definitely a difference between people doing thermal search and rescue versus a guy who wants to get cool clips for his TikTok, right? That's not allowed. Just stay out of everybody's way. Stay out of the private citizen's way. Stay out of the government's way. I just don't need that right now. It's not helpful, right? If it's not helpful, get back down the mountain. So we were working on that, and it was just one thing led to another. I've been up there for 4 days, and it's been pretty amazing experience so far. Because the American people helping the American people. Now, I will say, I saw this, this slow response because it's very difficult to get up there. If you've not been there, and I love hearing people who are in different parts of the country tell us what it's like on the ground. Like, if you're not there, I saw a thing today. It's like the military can get in. They have these bridges that float across rivers. Like, there's no river to float across, right? It's a canyon. And it's not across a canyon, it's 40 miles up a canyon, right? That technology doesn't work. So you're posting something that's just inherently doesn't apply to the situation on the ground. So it starts out slow, and then it starts to pick up. And then like day 3, day 4, all the politicians start showing up, right, at the airport. The Army's there. I saw a C-17 drop 100,000 pounds of stuff off. So the city starts to get well taken care of, right? Power's coming back on. Our real issues, these far-reaching, people want to be away. They want to live in the mountains away from people. They're way up on these mountaintops, and it's not an easy thing to get to. We're rucking back in there. We're using drones to drop Starlinks to fire departments that are cut off. And then, as the days progress, down there, I slept last night at the Eastern Command Center or the Western Command Center. There is a ton of National Guard there. And they woke us up at 6 a.m. and everybody marched out and got to work. So at least my experience on the ground is the guys you expect to be doing the work, local police, local fire, National Guard are doing the work, along with the private citizens. We have handed stuff out. No one's come to confiscate anything. I've never even seen FEMA, right? So I don't understand how FEMA is not there, but FEMA's also confiscating and taking money. They're at the command center. There's one trailer at the command center. I never even saw anybody, but I'm telling you, I don't want to discredit our hardworking men and women of police and fire who are out there saving people. I mean, I see it with my own eyes. And so it's frustrating being out there and going on Twitter and seeing all this arguing back and forth and all these conspiracy theories and like, let's just save it for a few days, right? Let's get like the bodies out of the debris piles. Let's like get people back at a good spot, and then we can sort it out, right? But it's hard when you see these guys out there working really hard, and you hear like no one's doing anything, and you're like literally blood, sweat, and tears trying to save people right alongside your police and fire. I mean, we were on a team that was led by a sheriff's deputy. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the short of it. It's a tough situation, and people are doing their best.
Wow. How well prepared was Gaston County for a disaster like this?
No one could be prepared for a disaster like this, right? You can't spend your budget to prepare for a once in a 14,000 year storm, right? It's just like AT&T or Verizon, one of those lost towers. Do you know they've never lost a tower in 28 years? They don't even have an operating procedure for the tower doesn't exist anymore. Wow. Right? How do you plan to lose metric tons of earth where your infrastructure sits? Right? What's your plan for that? And so I would say, could we been better prepared? Yes. I think if we had stuck with our Starlink contract and used it to get internet to rural America, we would have 19,000 Starlinks on the ground in North Carolina, and we wouldn't be risking our lives to ruck Starlinks into fire stations. Something I've been doing just actually tonight, people are shipping me their old Starlinks. They're shipping me sometimes they're new ones, like here you can have it, I'll buy another one. They're shipping them in. Elon sent me 30. He retweeted me when I asked him to make internet free for these areas. He retweeted, so we'll get it done tomorrow. I was blown away when people were calling me like, bro, Elon just retweeted you. It was incredible.
Wow.
By the way, the next day.
Congrats.
I've been trying to
get
him
to fix my account. I'm still in shadow ban mode. But anyway, that's cool.
So it's been an incredible few days. And everything I see up there is what America is. What you're reading on the internet, what you're watching on the internet is the internet, right? It's people that don't know what they're talking about. They're not there. When somebody starts with I heard from somebody, done. Like, okay, I don't care. Where were they at? What town were they in? Who are they with? Like, stop. Like, yeah, sure, there's body bags being brought up there. Of course there is. People were killed, right? Was there 500 of them? I don't know. There was boxes of them. But I'm not going to get on and tweet because guess what? You don't know how many people are dead, so you have to buy 500. That doesn't mean 500 people are dead. It also could mean 500 people are dead, right? But the point is, why are you talking about it when you can't? We don't know. We don't know on the ground. So how do you know, right? You're sitting in a different state and you're telling people how many dead there are. Like, you know what I mean? So, and I get where everybody's coming from. I get the frustration. But I think right now, if people can just support what we're doing on the ground and just focus on helping people, giving money to these people, they're going to need it this is a long recovery, guys. This isn't anytime soon. There is no, like the finger pointing right now, like, does it help these people that are suffering? I just was at a children's home this morning, and these kids lost their camp, right? These are foster kids who are already struggling. And this mudslide came through the middle of their property. God, miracle, just like protect these. Not one kid was killed. Not one. As a matter of fact, there was a house with kids in it where 2 oak trees fell and literally split the mudslide left and right of the house. Like, absolute miracle after miracle. And so that's the stuff I think people should be looking for and talking about. We can fix. I always say when there's a problem like the cows in the ditch, we can argue about whose fault the cows in the ditch, but let's first get the cow out of the ditch, right? Let's get the cow out of the ditch, and now we can talk about how the cow get in the ditch, and then whose fault it was. And let's make sure it doesn't happen again. Yeah. So I don't know. This is just coming from somebody who's probably pretty high on emotion right now, but I've been in the field for days. I've slept maybe 4 hours. I'm in the same clothes. You know what I mean? It's like, it's tough when you go online and that's what you see versus like the opposite. So,
Wow. So hearing your story, what is the visual look like there? Is it just still like a lake over the whole town?
no, there's no water. Water's not the issue. All the video you see of water's old video, right? The problem is this is a mountain. Water doesn't stay on a mountain. Right? That's the issue. It goes down the mountain very quickly. So there may be puddling here and there, but it washed through. What you have is very dirty destruction. A lot of mud, a lot of debris, but it's dry. I mean, the river is like this nice, beautiful flowing river. If I told you that thing was a raging monster 8 days ago, you wouldn't believe me, other than the destruction. But it's just it looks like a bomb went off.
Wow.
You know, it's like buildings are wiped out, bridges are gone. And the thing is I did a video earlier. I'm at these people's property and their property's gone, guys. Not their building, but their dirt. Their dirt is gone. Their property is now the same level as the river. You'll never build there again. You can't build at the same level as a river. Like, it's not that your house is gone. The dirt, the piece of land that you own that you would think is forever, does not exist anymore. And I don't know how to process that. So I don't know how to recover from that.
Wow. Our nonprofit organization, Red America First, is starting a fundraiser for the families in need. So those that are watching the live stream, Red America First is donating to those families in need. Go to givesendgo.com/RedAmericaFirst/donate, and those proceeds will go directly to families in need. By the way, Shawn, how long you been doing disaster relief, and are you getting really good at installing the Starlink? Because I've been watching your post, and you know, God is good with X. A lot of people watching different feeds and things like that.
Yeah.
That's how we got connected with you. And I was like, hey, we would love to talk with you. So thank you for coming on. And we're a serious team, just wanting to share real information, because we'll get pieces of video or info, and I kind of want to share a video that happened in Asheville, North Carolina, North Carolina, with local police authorities. But so FEMA's not really there yet, because I'm hearing there's funding issues, but all the other local authorities that are trying to help, are they pushing their citizens away from their properties and stuff like this?
No, that's just not. The exception's not the rule. Has that happened? It very well could have, right? It very well could have been. Somebody shot at us yesterday. They thought we were looters, right? It was a misunderstanding. Now I can either go take that clip and post it and say, we're getting shot at. You know, there's cannibal hunters in the woods trying to get police force, you know. No, they thought we were looters. They fired some shots off to scare us away, right? You could take that and you can play it up for the most clicks, the most likes, and the most engagement. But no, it was a misunderstanding. They saw a bunch of trucks pulling up to houses that are probably their friends, not realize we're getting ready to unload drones and help people. And they fire a couple of shots off to scare us off. That narrative could be twisted on the internet, right? If you just take the footage without any context. So that's the exception, not the rule. That happened one time in however many days. And honestly, like, I probably would have done the same thing. I saw a bunch of trucks pull up to a house with you know, a bunch of guys getting out in military gear, like, you know, kind of like not military gear, but carrying guns and stuff, right? But again, it's the exception, not the rule. Has it happened? It could have, but we don't take that one exception and then, you know, tell every other person that's what's happening. Let me find a picture real quick. Let's see if I can find it.
If you get it, text it to me and I'll share it on the big screen with everybody.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I don't dox anybody. So let's see here. Sorry, guys. Dead air is terrible on a show.
That's okay. You're fine.
Let's see here. It's coming.
While he's looking this up,
Okay,
we're gonna.
I just said it.
Okay, cool.
It's there. Yeah.
Well,
So
let me pull this picture up for everybody. So stand fast. Talk about it while we're getting it up, Shawn. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, we were local volunteers. We're farmers. It's basically farmers doing drone work with drones that are meant for heavy lift farming, and we have a sheriff's deputy running the mission. Right? He didn't kick us out. He didn't shut us down. He's there telling us where we need to go. The sheriff's deputy said, "Oh my gosh, you guys have thermal drones? We don't have that technology. Can we go see if houses have heat coming out of them?" And so we can kind of decide what houses we know people are in and don't know people are in. Like, of course. So what I've seen time and time again is local law enforcement, local fire, taking people who were already on scene. Right. There's a big difference in the early days versus the later days. I'll get to that. They're already on scene helping and joining alongside and helping. They're the skilled individuals. They know operations. They know the comms. They can get the resources. But sometimes we have the tech and experience that is not typical to what they do. Like, how many cops need to fly heavy lift drones? It's just not a realistic skill set. But my experience is working alongside everybody. Do I know what happened? I know that video you're talking about, and I saw it. And I'm like, that's an aberration, because I had not seen it once. I'm a civilian. I walked into the Eastern Command Center, but I've also done a lot of work. I've earned my stripes and slept in the same building all the National Guard are sleeping in. I'm a civilian, and so, but they knew the work I was doing, and had already been helpful. Now, there's definitely a point where it changes. Now, as many people as they have on the ground helping now, untrained individuals without specific skill sets that are needed showing up is not helpful, right? As a commander, you need to be able to look at the people on the ground and understand that they understand your language, understand your operating procedures, and can trust that they're going to behave a certain way. If we start mixing civilians into that, you can't do that. So I get why if I just showed up like, hey, I'm so excited, I just want to help, but hey, you're actually going to hurt us. Right, because I gotta watch you the whole time. But if that guy was like, "Hey, I know networking, I want to help," that's what happened today. We had some guys that came from a financial tech company, and they're like top level networkers. What is that?
I don't know. People are trying to screw up our show here, so let me try.
I don't understand what's going on.
Let me figure out how to do this real quick to stop this.
Yeah, turn that off. It's called for.
Yeah, I'm trying to stop. We're getting attacked here. Let me pull up the picture you sent. Gosh, I am getting attacked. Hang on, guys.
Oh, it's like people are spamming in your chat.
Yeah, you guys ignore the chat. I don't know how to stop it.
That's not your fault.
All right, so I'm sharing my screen too, and we'll go to that photo that he had up. Can you guys see that?
So that's this is a couple roofing contractors, a couple of farmers, Cajun Navy. Oh, I would just turn that off before they do anything.
That's terrible.
I can explain it.
Sorry, that's just totally rude.
I'm gonna have to figure out how to kick these people out, but keep going while I'm trying to get these people kicked out.
Right. I gotta go pretty quick anyway, just because of my time limits. But no, I wouldn't even turn that back on. I would just leave that off. Or is that something they're doing?
It's something they're doing. I gotta figure out how to disable that functionality. So sorry about that.
No worries. I'll let you work on that, guys. All I wanted to say is, please don't believe everything you see on the internet. Support your first responders that are doing the work, and let's save all the conspiracy theories and all that for after we get everybody saved. That's really what I wanted to come on and say. And there's a little bit of truth in all the stuff that's happening, but that doesn't mean it is the only truth. So Guys, thank you so much for
We
having me on.
appreciate you so
Hey,
much.
so sorry that
Thank
this
you.
happened to you, Shawn. We typically
No worries.
don't.
I get the internet. It's a terrible place.
Yeah.
Can be.
Thank you
It
so
can
much
be. It'll
for
also be a
coming
wonderful
tonight.
place. Have a good one.
You
Yeah.
too. Thank you.
Wow. So those that are completely ruining our show, thank you for ruining our show. I need to learn how to block these things from happening. Gosh,
It doesn't even make sense.
they're literally taking over our show. So, guys, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure
Just
out.
stop streaming it live.
It's really bad, guys. I need to somehow shut down chat. Don't know how to do that. Wow. Misty Magaso, real quick, while we're kind of trying to get a hold of our meeting here, do you want to share what's going on in Hawaii and everyone else?
Lady, this one, Estrella, get rid of her.
Everyone else, just be patient. I'm gonna get rid of these people.
Yeah, there's a lot of concern in Hawaii right now, you know, with the threat of World War III, if you would. If you remember back in December of 2017, there was a Q drop 432 that talked about missile Fox 3, which meant there was a radar guided missile headed towards Hawaii. And then it splashed down, and then there was another post after that that mentioned Red October. We're concerned because when Trump has been around for the last year talking about the Iron Dome, so we're also prepared that there would be a terrorist attack not only in the United States, but we might experience Pearl Harbor 2.0 or even 9/11 2.0 on the mainland. So we're gearing up for the lockdowns and the potential things that are going to come our way. So it's keeping the real patriots or the real locals occupied with what we need to do. So that's why our own personal conversation has been a little restricted. So, like I said, so our conversation, you and I, Ashley, in Red America First, has been limited lately because we're totally being consumed with preparations over here, not only for disaster, but let's say for moving forward with taking some of these people out of office. Because we're totally taken over by the United Nations. You see that even in North Carolina. That's why I mentioned that. The global governance community was in New York. They're all planning for their last move with Soros and them and the global takeover. So everybody needs to be vigilant right now. So we're taking care of our own, if you would, and we're watching what's unfolding.
Outstanding. Thank you for sharing what's going on. Thank you for what's sharing on in Hawaii. Appreciate that. Let's call on Bob, Florida.
I thought you were calling me next.
Oh, go ahead, Misty. What's going on in Georgia?
Well, I mean, I've pretty much already said the military and neighbors have been what's doing what here. But the military didn't come in until today. Offered MREs and stuff like that, or the basics. I just wanted to say I haven't been on for quite a while because I've been on my way down south where you guys are, Florida. But I was hiking and camping on my way through until, thank you, Guardian Angels, I got out of the Appalachians just in time and went somewhere else instead. I was going to go right into Gatlinburg and camp my way through that way. So I'd have been right in that mess.
Well, thank God it didn't go that way.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. And we ended up going over to Lookout Mountain and then decided to stop in and see family here in Georgia, and they had been hit hard. So we've been helping clean up. They got lucky out of everybody else around, honestly. But yeah, and we're heading that way sometime tomorrow. So.
Oh, great. Wonderful. What part of Florida are you coming to?
And we're just going to be working all throughout the state. So.
Okay.
Actually, my boyfriend will be. But.
Very cool.
Well, welcome to Florida when you get here. Thanks for coming on tonight, Misty.
Where are you guys at anyway? What part of Florida?
So if you look at Disney World, we're about 20 minutes away from Disney World. So just pretend we're at Disney World, but we're not. We're near Champions Gate.
I'm sorry, my phone got static.
We're near Disney World. We gotta move on real quick, Misty. Okay. I gotta get these trolls out of here. Bob, Florida, what's going on in Florida, buddy? Thanks for coming on tonight.
A lot of stuff going on. Real quick, we're having a golf cart parade here in the Villages. So if the previous person is near the Villages, October 13th, we're having a golf cart parade. If you're over, come on over to Brownwood City Fire. Look it up, City Fire in Brownwood. About 4 o'clock, we're having an after party. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to have everything up on trumpclub.tv. You'll be able to see it there. And actually, it's something you might be interested in. October 10th and 11th, Tucker Carlson and Public Square is going to have a big event on the 10th and 11th with Donald Trump Jr., Tucker Carlson, a bunch of other people are going to be there. If anybody wants to go, special offer for Red America First, contact Ashley. I get you in for free.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
How about that?
That's cool.
I like that offer,
All right.
Bob.
Uh-huh. You got to have the connections. I got the connections. Get you in for free, but don't register until you contact Ashley because you need the code. I can only get the code out while it lasts. So if you want to go, Tucker Carlson, it's October 10th and 11th in Orlando.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Right.
Thank you for that, Bob. We owe you a margarita for that one, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, since we're on Florida, let's call on some people to join you. Latran and Tom, let's join Bob in Florida. What do you guys got any other intel to add? We'll also add Rosemarie and Anne Marie is here too. So gosh, we got Rosemarie and Anne Marie Florida and Diana Hillman. So let me call on you guys. A lot of Florida tonight, so hang tight. Oh, Janice is on too. Man, Florida's a full house. Martha's in the house. All right, Rosemarie. All right, well, I got my Florida staff up here. Hang on. I got to add Rosemarie. Tom, you first, then Latran, then Anne-Marie, then Diana, then Janice, then Rosemarie. Go ahead, Tom. 30 seconds. What you got?
The guy you had on with the videos and the reels, I saw that video that he had on, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it really got me thinking. And I saw some other stuff too, where modified the weather and everything like that. Now we might be putting a tinfoil hat on, but it all seems to go together, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm, it does. There's too many coincidences.
It doesn't just happen by accident.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that input, Tom. How did you like tonight?
Oh, fantastic, of course.
Besides the trolls. Thank you for that, Tom. So that's Tom. He's moved from Pennsylvania, and now he lives in Florida. Latran, what say you about Florida? And then we're going to get Teresa, our Christian pillar, to comment on what's going on in Florida as well. Go ahead. What's going on, Latran?
Yeah, I just want to join, when you want me join with Bob, let me know, send me the email, okay?
Yeah. Make sure you get my number.
Martha too.
Make sure you get my number from Martha, and you guys ping me. I'll get the code from Bob, and
okay. Thank you.
That goes the same for Teresa.
Yeah, everybody.
Everyone that wants to go, ping me, and I'll hook you guys up. And we all owe Bob a margarita. All right. So Teresa, our Christian pillar leader, Florida, lives near Tampa area. How are you doing, sister? We miss you. We love you. And tell us.
Same here.
Tell
Miss
us
you
some
all
updates
too.
in Florida. Go ahead.
Well, same old going on here. Just a lot of crazy stuff you hear happening, with, I don't know, people hurting other people. It's just gotten really evil, I don't know if it's, I see a lot of news break and it's always something going on bad, locally. But other than that, I'm going to be, we were without power for like 10 hours. So I praise God for that. I mean, compared to what all these other people are going through, it's nothing, so, but we did fine otherwise in the storm. My grandson is in South Carolina now, helping out with, the storm, the hurricane issues there. And he was saying that they couldn't get into North Carolina. So I'm sure they will eventually, but he said he thought he was going for maybe 3 weeks work. And he says when he got there and saw everything, he says he'll be lucky if they're done in 6 months.
Yeah, that's awful. I feel so
Yeah.
bad for those people.
So, I am going on a cruise on Sunday through Friday, so you won't see me next week, but, keep us in your prayers. Hopefully the weather will be good and it doesn't get canceled.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely pray for you for your.
Thank you.
Where are you
God
going?
bless you all.
Where are you
I
going?
do have a question. Did Bob say November or October?
October.
October?
Yeah, it's
So I'll
October.
miss
Yeah,
it then.
just ping me and I'll get you guys the details.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. God bless.
You too.
So next is Anne Marie in Florida. Any updates in Florida, Anne Marie? And gosh, we haven't seen you in months. Thanks for coming back.
Well, actually, I just came in a little late. I missed that whole presentation pretty much. I got in like after 10. Well, what I just I was late because I had just finished doing a town hall meeting myself. And I'm in Pasco, which is, right outside of Tampa, north of Tampa. And we're trying real hard to work on removing the existing commissioners and we're in the process of changing out the school superintendent because the one that we've had he's done. He can't he can't he can't go anymore. He can't be on that job anymore. So it was about a good 2 hours, I guess, of the candidates getting up there and speaking, but they're all grassroots candidates. I don't know, I'm not sure how they're going to fare in the election, but everybody, wants to see a change. We want to see a change with these board of commissioners, and also mosquito control. I had quite a few mosquito control people tonight that were on the panel to speak. So it got a little crazy towards the end. I had a couple of mosquito control guys almost go at each other. They would almost go at each other's throats. I was like, okay, that's enough. No more. You need to get back to Robert's rules here. So that's about it. We are having some Trump rallies in Palm Harbor, which is in Pinellas County, and they're going on like every 2 weeks. And that's about it. Nothing more. I'm a little devastated over what's going on with North Carolina because I come from North Carolina. My son lives there. So but he's not part of Western North Carolina. He's in the Raleigh area, but he went to school in Boone, so he knows some people still in Boone.
Well, thank you so much.
That's about it.
Well, let's talk offline. We need your help to get more Florida leaders on the show, but we'll talk offline about it. Thanks for coming tonight, Anne Marie. We're not done though. Stand fast. Thank you. Janice or Diana. I think Diana's in the South Florida area. Diana, if you guys see the moderators asking you to unmute. Janice, Rosemary, go ahead.
A couple of things going on. DeSantis, by the way, was bringing in the National Guard to open up our ports because of that strike by the longshoremen. So, but I understand that has been settled, and they are getting a 62% raise. So they are getting quite a bit. And also, Annie Delgado is having that other truckers, the Trump. That's going to be in October, I think about the 20th. I sent you the flyer about that, which you can send out if you'd like. And that's going to be a big event. Let's see, that's about it. We had our REC meeting last night, as I mentioned before. They are going to put that big poster I did. It's 12 by 22, a full page in the Press Journal here. So it will go in the week before the election. But also, I understand that there people have to be very leery about the mail-in ballots because I understand in highly Republican areas, the postmen, some of the postal service people, are being paid to throw away these ballots and not deliver them. So we have to be very careful about that and who your postmen are. And maybe it's a good idea to just bring your ballot to a box or to the Board of Elections directly so that they get in. Okay? They get counted.
Well, thank you so much, Rosemary, and we love what you do in the newsletter every month. So we're very appreciative of you. Thank you.
Well, I got some very, very nice comments about it last night. In fact, even the treasurer was taking some of the information from our newsletter and printing it up as well and sending it out. So I think it is helping. We'll do whatever we can, and I've asked people to send them out. I think I sent you a whole list of people that I sent to, a couple of hundred people or 500, whatever they were, but there are lots of people. But what I would suggest, if you can, and some of the other people might do this, to go to the Board of Elections and get the list of Republican, the registered Republicans in their area. And on those lists, you will find emails. You can email out to them and ask them to send these, not only send the newsletters to them, but send it to their friends, family, and so forth, because it does help them to identify what's going on, and especially that comparison between Trump and Harris, which I don't know if I sent you that, but I did revise a couple of little things in there. I will send you the newest one, and that's going to be in the paper, but that's really a good page.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for all that you do, Rosemary, and we'll definitely chat with you later on, and have a safe weekend, all. Martha or Diana, I'm still pinging you guys on mute. Janice, tell us, how are you doing, and give us an update. We're going to get North Carolina next, so Tim and Jimmy, get ready.
I'm doing fine. Very blessed. It did flood down the road a lot, about 2-3 miles just from me, but I had no water. Lots of limbs, but no damage to my home.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of damage, Janice, you just reminded me, we cut off Greg, so gosh darn it. Greg, we're going to start your video if we can. This is one of our members in Georgia, so Janice, thank you for reminding me about this. Greg is one of our speakers tonight because we wanted to share. And honestly, Greg, the trolls kind of derailed me. I really apologize. You can imagine how stressed I was, and my chat was going crazy. Now I know I could shut my chat off, but I'm going to go really quickly, and I'm going to spotlight Greg for everyone. And so Greg, tell us, what part of Georgia are you at?
I live in Valdosta, about 12 miles from the Florida line, close to I-75. I live about 30 miles from 75.
Okay. I'm going to be sharing my screen so we could kind of go over some photos that Greg has shared with us. And we'll start with this one. Oh, wow. Greg, go ahead.
Let's see what I'm looking at. So that's a big old bull pine. That's about a 100-year-old tree. It fell through a breezeway, but it missed my house. That was my prayer for days as this storm was brewing up. That just spare my home and I'll be happy. It missed my home by about 2.5 feet. Came through a breezeway going to a enclosed red iron metal carport. It's got pretty good damage to the front of the carport, but this is not the first go around, because the day it got me with 2 trees on the home. So Valdosta's been hit really hard from those 2 storms. Actually, there's been 3 storms in the last 13 months, which has never happened for our part of the area. And the itinerary of this get together tonight for the town hall meeting is, right on cue of, how are these storms happening that's never come through our area, and how can all the meteorologists be off on where the storm's going and changing their tune every 4 or 5 hours, saying it's going this way, it's going that way. And, it started out that it was going to be going up the Alabama line more than once, but then at the last minute, it steered where the center of the storm, the eye, came right over Valdosta. But I haven't even been all over Valdosta because I've been running a chainsaw since Saturday morning. And of course, I'm really tired for an old guy.
How many trees fell? But how big is your property? Is it 1 acre, 2 acre, 3 acre, 4, 5, 6, something like that?
Well, my immediate home site is probably, 5 acres, but I have a large parcel of land. But one of my biggest problems is clear cut the trees in 21, and we replanted them. So there's no windbreak that used to be out there for the years, but, in past years before 21, never experienced these kind of storms. So there's definitely some alterations going on, and there's definitely some evil people behind it, in my opinion. And it's as if like you're driving a car the way this one came, like it had a purpose and where it was heading and what they wanted to do with it.
What are we looking at on this photo here, Greg?
This is outside tractor shelter that I have that apartment tractors, lawnmowers under. This same shed was destroyed by a day as well. So it'll have to be rebuilt one more time.
So this is your tractor storage, your lawnmower, like all your grounds type of maintenance. You put it in this little shed here.
That's right. It's probably, I don't know, it's about a 30-foot span there. It's bigger than it looks.
Wow, and you just got a little limb sticking inside here. Look at that.
Yeah.
So a lot of damage. So this tree, you said, missed the house by 2.5 feet.
That's right.
Look at that.
And I had rental properties the same way. I cut a couple of I've cut four grown pines on that property, but there's still half a dozen grown pines in front of that house. And the trees that fell from the neighbor's yard just paralleled my house and missed it. And then the trees that were in the backyard, of course, they fell away from the house and didn't hit it. But the next door neighbor and then the adjoining next door neighbor, the pine trees fell directly on their homes.
Oh,
and all over,
That's terrible.
and all over Valdosta. I mean, there's thousands of homes with huge pine trees on them. Some of them have went right through the roof all the way to the floor on them. They just look like a cut in them, like they cut through a cake. The college, that has been established since, I believe, and I think it first started as a women's college in the late 1800s. The campus was just, groomed and beautiful with Georgia pines and azalea bushes, and all those beautiful pine trees are just, there's hundreds probably destroyed, and they got one more mess.
Wow.
I mean, but that's not, that's just one spot. I mean, there's $1 million homes, that are dealing with the same problem. I've seen some homes with half a dozen trees on top of it.
Well, we always care about you, Greg, and I promise the next time we go visit our sister, you're halfway. You're right halfway between here and there. So we'll stop by and have lunch, shake your hand, and we're just blessed that no tree.
I appreciate that.
No tree landed on you. Because you said how many trees? You said 20. What?
Well, after this storm, I'd had enough, of this peril of work. So, I had probably a half a dozen down that didn't hit the house, but I made the decision that since the guys were here cleaning it up, that I was going to get down every tree that could reach my home, which makes it look like a desert out here. But a day you cleared out my behind my home with trees. And now I purposely have decided to clean out the front of my yard. I had several 100-year-old pine trees out there. And I'm just getting old and tired that I'd rather not be fighting, cutting these huge trees up and having the worry and aggravation of that. If I can fix it to where they can't hit my home or harm it, that's the decision I made, and we took them down.
Awesome. Well, Greg, we're blessed that you're alive and safe and nothing.
Yeah, I was smarter on this trip. I went and got me a motel room, but I should have got a motel room about 200 miles to the west if I'd have been smart, because it was rocking in town in a motel room. And unfortunately, they put me on the 4th floor, but it didn't take me long to decide I was going to get down in the lobby and find me a hole to get in. With 120 mile an hour winds, it was rocking. I can tell you that.
I bet.
Wow.
That's crazy.
But, no lights in town, survived, internet's down. We've had real bad cell service. I'm still down with the internet. I'm surprised we're able to communicate tonight with just 4G or whatever. But, Valdosta, Nashville, Georgia, above Nashville, Georgia, Pearson, Georgia, Douglas, Georgia, all have really caught the brunt of this thing with the wind from that storm. But it just amazed me that here at the house I didn't get but less than 5 inches of rain. And then this craziest thing, I saw that Atlanta, I hadn't been on the news much because I've been working, but I saw over 12 inches of rain in Atlanta. And then, then I hear about the devastation in the Carolinas and Tennessee, and I'm just wondering how in the heck did that happen with rain, the amount of rainfall they had.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks for sharing your story, Greg, and we're sorry. What is the insurance going to do? Do you know?
Well, waiting on the adjuster to get here next week, so we'll hear that story.
Well, keep us
and hopefully they'll have pity on me and help me out.
well, keep us in the loop.
But I just wonder, you know, with the thousands and thousands of people all filing a claim, what are they going to do?
Right.
It's going to be a kind of problem, I'm sure. So I don't know how they're going to handle trying to put all that money out to for all these claims that are coming in.
Absolutely.
So they're probably going to try to use some gray area and cut some corners, I bet.
Oh, they always will, believe me. Well, thanks for sharing that story, Greg, and we'll definitely be saying some prayers for you to recover, and you know that we care about you and everyone that's part of our family. So thank you for sharing your story, and that was 2 storms in 1 year for you.
That's right, 13 months. And there's a lot of people in Valdosta. I guess they didn't have insurance, or they don't have enough money. I mean, there were still tarps on many houses in Valdosta where they hadn't even re-roofed their house when this storm hit 13 months later. That's crazy. And they're messed up some more again.
Wow.
So it's a double whammy.
Well, thank you for sharing your story, Greg. Hang tight. We're going to transition to North Carolina. Thank you again, Greg. Tim, I'm sorry I asked on the chat. I was bombarded with all these trolls, and I didn't know if you were one of them or not. So thanks for answering. Tell us, how far are you away from all these bad things in North Carolina, and what updates do you have to share tonight? And Jimmy's on deck. Thank you so much for joining tonight.
Well, I'm pretty much about 3, maybe 4 hours away from Asheville. As much as I do know that FEMA has not entered North Carolina, the governor has not stepped up or has not even bothered to go on social media or the news to even talk about FEMA coming to North Carolina or sending in the National Guard to help with the rescue. It's mostly just like the gentleman that started the video off said that it's mostly people from around the neighborhoods. There is some retired Navy SEALs. I did read that they are trying to get up there with their own skid steers, bobcats, all kinds of stuff up there to help push away the debris, try to open up more roads. The Appalachian Mountains pretty much are hit hard. They suffered quite a bit of mudslides and debris, destroying a lot of bridges, especially I-40, I want to say, going west was pretty much down. There's no way in or out of that place at all. Like, mudslides destroyed a lot of roads. The other part is that there is a rumor going around in North Carolina where Sear Pines, I want to say that's how I pronounce it correctly, that there is a company trying to buy up some land worth about $90 million. And it holds a great deal, which North Carolina holds a great deal of lithium. And nobody really did know this, but I just found out myself. I didn't know that North Carolina held, because over across seas, we lost a contract to digging up lithium overseas. Now they're coming to North Carolina, and this person has already made a deal with Tesla. The crazier part about that situation is that our governor, if by that land being destroyed like it has been, our government might end up selling all that land to that person for $90 million. And there's 2 other mining companies that are trying to expand too at the same time. And right now, that's a lot of the residents are pushing back on that whole matter in that area because it's a small town. Now they're in a worse shape now. They don't need this construction going on at this given time. I mean, like the gentleman was saying, there's a lot of bodies that's not being pulled out of the mud yet. Without a lot of people don't know is that when mudslides start, there's always a secondary slide or third slide, and that mud just simply it's like concrete. Once it hits you, it's going to crush your body. There's no way getting in or out of that mud without somebody try to get something around you and try to pull you up slowly. Mud can actually rip your body apart too if you're not careful. Other than that, the North Carolina area is hit hard. I was talking to my dad about it. He said there was another hurricane that was similar to Helen. It was a lot worse than that one. He said it moved back towards the ocean and came back to North Carolina, and it destroyed a lot of. When he was younger, that's what he remembered. I can't remember the name of that storm, but it was just as bad as this one. But no one's never heard of a hurricane hitting the mountains though before. And this is the first for anybody and everybody ever heard a hurricane hitting hard in the mountain areas.
Well,
which is real, still crazy, in my
how
opinion.
did you hear about us, Tim?
My friend Jimmy.
Did we ever have a conversation on the phone with Jimmy, and you were on it in the past, or maybe you were on it?
I want to say I talked to a guy named Ashley. He probably remembers me if he was to hear my voice.
That's me.
Okay, yeah. So we get to meet. So yeah, I am from North Carolina. I am from Robinson County area. Like I said, I'm like 3 or 4 hours from Asheville.
Okay.
It's
It's
a place I will not go to though.
I want to show you and Jimmy and everyone else that's watching here on the town hall and the live stream. I'm going to share screen number 2, and I'm going to play this video for everybody real quick. And I fixed the troll problem. I think we won't have this problem in the future. But anyway, let's see what this guy says. It's a little disturbing, but I want everybody to...
Present, they're in the way. They are directly interrupting our ability to conduct missions and operations. And I'm not going to disparage anybody, because we are trying to work within partner relationships, both government and non-government entities within state and federal and county. I went to put a couple of people into a hotel last night, and they have a security guard at the hotel. And they said, "Oh, we're so sorry. The entire hotel has been booked for federal employees." And I was like, no, I have people that would just pull it out of a mountain that are living out in the hills, and there's not a place for me to put them because we have federal employees that are staying in the hotel. I slept in this white car last night. I smell like foot and death right now, as does every single person on our team. Not a single one of us slept. We got done maybe at 3 o'clock. The moment the sun was up and we could fly helicopters again, we were back in the air, and we have not stopped. And I was like on the fence about trying to get on this program or not. I want people to understand how incredible this organization is, Save Our Allies, and all the work that all of these volunteers are doing. But people, this is biblical level devastation.
So that's one. Here's another sad image that was circling the internet today. Little puppy, little girl, sad, got rescued. Then we have this in Asheville. Okay.
Look, I'm just saying.
Why can you goddamn walk
I'm not
this time of a bitch?
Step over here just so people don't amp you up, all right? So, again, I get it. You guys got told by her. She gave me instructions to come talk to you guys. That you guys have already gotten ample amount of time. That I don't know what she told you. I'm giving you guys a warning. That's it. Just please back up and leave. That's literally it.
Do you see us trying to get our stuff?
I got you. I don't know what you guys been doing. Again, this is.
I did.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Again, I don't know what you guys been doing. I'm just giving you guys a warning that we're trying to get people moving. So if I have to come back out over here, like, I don't know, like, the jail is processing, all right? That's it. That's the last report.
So you're going to take us to jail.
Come here. Look, I'm not taking you to jail.
You're threatening to take me to jail for trying to get our stuff off our property so the crackheads don't get it, right?
So that's pretty bad. Let me stop my share. So allegedly, an Asheville police officer was telling these people to turn away from their home. Gosh, Jimmy, have you heard of this? Tim, have you heard of any of this? Tell me.
What I've heard so far is that there is price gouging in certain areas of Greensboro and Asheboro, wherever they can get gas at. There is price gouging on gas. And one guy posted a video where who's paying how much for gas? $10. Who I pay? It's looks like a Mexican guy. I'm not really sure if he's a Mexican or not. He said you pay me $10 just to get gas. And it ain't just gas stations. Other places is price gouging because they see opportunities. Like I said, FEMA's not even came to North Carolina. Our governor's not stepped up. Mark Robertson probably has spoke on it, but I haven't seen the videos. They have received some internet connections in certain parts of that area of Boone and other places. They also Kamala Harris apparently made a comment on they will be giving people like $750 while they're sending $8 billion to Ukraine. But yet that's not enough. That's not even gonna last. That's not even gonna buy a generator. That's not even going to put food in people's refrigerators or buy them a new house or repair their house if they can. Some people has even their houses are washed out. When I say washed out, I mean the whole area is cleared out. Like you could walk across a road that's clear. That's just how bad it is up there. And like I said before, there's no one has ever heard of a hurricane hitting mountains like that before.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jimmy, what's your reaction? And then Timmy's on deck. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, I think Tim got to mention that there was a tornado into that too, wasn't it, Tim?
Yeah, he said yes.
Yeah, so there was a tornado and a hurricane combined during that time, from what he told me. So yeah, our governor is stepping up to the plate. I've seen pictures of what he's doing. He's helping give people donations. And what I've been hearing, there's been a lot of people that told me to leave so they give donations. I don't know who's telling them this. I don't know if the mayors are telling them this, but it's happening right now. And there's been a lot of helicopters. Like I said, the National Guard has been deployed up there. So that's all I know. It's very bad. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. But there's so much going on up there. It's very liberal. It used to be conservative. But
well, thank you, Jimmy. What's your brother say, Timmy? What do you think about all this? And you got any updates in North Carolina? And we'll transition to Ohio, then Kansas, or Kentucky. I forget which one Frank said. One of the cases.
Well, it's good. It's good to be back home. I'm sorry I haven't been seeing y'all lately, but ever since this has happened, my take on what happened to Asheville. I was in church last night, and I told somebody, I said, "Do you think that this is God's wrath? What happened in Asheville?" They were like, "No, it's nature." And I'm sitting there beside Christians, and they saying this, and I'm disgusted by it, and they won't speak up. And don't get me wrong, I love my pastor, but it seems like he's not speaking up about it. But
that's one of the things we're working on, right? Is look, the pastors need to come to the realization that America was founded under Christianity principles, and we have to let go of this. I'm going to lose money. I'm going to lose following. I'm going to lose, people coming into the church. But I'm sorry, but if the other side is
satanic,
is acting. I was trying to come up with a word that they're practicing more satanic things than the other side. How in the heck can a church support that type of rhetoric or that type of party? I wouldn't care if I lost people in my church. It's just not a Christian thing to be like what our Democrat leaders are doing, or more specifically, our uniparty leaders are doing. So,
yeah, I think.
Go ahead, Timmy. You were saying something?
I think God wants us to reform the country so that He can re-bless it once again. But until we get rid of this mess of what's going on, it's not going to happen. It's going to get him more mad, and then he's going to do something about it himself.
Well, thank you for the input, Timmy, and we miss you. So come back every week, all right?
I will.
All right, hang tight. Rob, Ohio, thank you. Valerie and I, thank you so much for helping us with Mr. Smith.
Scott Smith.
Scott Smith, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's going to come on because, that's another scandal, another stone that has to be picked up, because the more we look at it with the magnifying glass, the EPA and damaging the water, damaging the air. Conyers, Georgia just had a big explosion and burn up, and our sister's like, oh my God, the next day she's like, I could smell it stinks out here. So what updates do you have? And Frank's on deck.
Well, they finally they started, the settlement's closed, the judge found it was good. It was okay, which she blocked all the expert witnesses that were going to object to it. And it's just a lot of hate going on here right now because somebody filed an appeal to it. And you would swear that was Satan that filed the appeal. The people are going absolutely crazy. It's at $70,000 per, supposedly this is what they promised, was $70,000 per household, and then up to $25,000 per each person medical. But people are acting like that money is more to them than anything else. I've seen friendships break up. I've seen more F words on social media than I have in a long time, and the hate is very powerful. It's just another way of putting a stake in the heart of this community. But just going to have to wait and see how it goes. Scott will be able to clarify quite a bit of this because he is one of the experts, and he has been validated by other experts that the EPA has smeared. So he's coming on the 17th, so that will be really exciting, especially for McGay. So let's see, any kind of political news that I can think of? There's one thing. Gave me a great deal of hope. I seen an interview where Vivek Ramaswamy was talking, and then the people started chanting they wanted him as governor. Our present governor, I think he's termed out in 2025 or 2026. But Vivek would be such a great stepping stone and a good leader.
Yeah, he would.
So I'm holding out hope that he's going to coalesce with the rest of us and run as governor.
That would be amazing.
That, and well, being our senator did such a great job the other night.
Yeah.
Feel kind of good about that. So that's all the news I have.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Rob. I thought you had this big list that we're going to talk about in the intel round, but not yet.
Okay, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want you to kick that off. So hang tight, and we'll make it a quick night. Don't worry. I promise.
Okay. Yeah, I got to be done by 12.
All right. So we gotta hurry. Got it.
But this shouldn't take too long.
All right. Let's see how it goes. Frank, Kansas, you're up. Kentucky.
Okay. Am I? Yeah, Mike's free. Kansas. So one thing that I learned a couple days ago, as you know, the NRA has a pretty big conservative population, and apparently there's a person in Kansas who has a amazing database of all the NRA members. Inside that database, there's a roughly 40% amount of people who just don't vote. Something that you probably have heard before, right? So that gentleman is reaching out individually. He's got a team reaching out and getting those people to vote and vote early. So that's who knows what the numbers are, but I thought hearing that from the gal who runs the Trump party activity in Kansas, that was kind of an interesting data point. The other thing I wanted to mention, and this isn't in Kansas, but it's nearby in Oklahoma. I'm part of a team going in October 17th to the state building in Oklahoma City. And J.J. Humphrey, who is a congressman in that area, has gotten a kind of an open court of appeals, open court opinion in Oklahoma. Time frame. I'm part of a team between going in 2:30 October 17th to the state building, and so what the purpose of this is, it's called the a COVID interim study, and it's to help generate investigations into all the areas like the hospital protocol, the gene therapy, people who were affected negatively, the interventions that were not allowed to be used in the early days and still not being used. So what's happening is that David Martin is part of this. Dr. Pierre Corey's part of this. Dr. Mary Bowden is talking about the gene therapy injection. Dr. Jancy Lindsay, she's going into some detail there. In the medical treatment, Kevin McKernan is going to go over that, and each person has like 15 minutes. Stanford Graham and or Warner Mendenhall, as you know, you've heard his name in terms of his legal activities. And then Rachel Rodriguez, who's an attorney out of Florida, who's doing cases all over the country. So the purpose is to get legislators and AGs interested in these areas. And what I'll do is I'll send you the outline of what we're covering. The other part is get Oklahoma going, but also be an example for other states. So it's kind of like a kickoff. But yeah, the interesting thing is that we've had George Wentz, who's part of the Davalier Law Group. George has been architecting most of the legal filings that have had wins. So are the numbers high? No, but they are wins. They're not being thrown out of court. And David Martin is the architect working alongside of George in these. So we see this as a very significant opportunity. So if there's anyone from Oklahoma, you can reach out to me. I can give you specifics, but it is open to the public. The public has not got opportunity for say, because it is a kind of a hard stop 2-hour presentation. Inside the presentation will be videos of all the people who had family members that were murdered in the hospitals. So, and it's everything that's going to be presented is going to be presented by the expert, professional, boots on the ground person within the context of what they're bringing. So, Ashley, I'll send you some information on that. And then when it's finished, I'll be able to speak to, what actually happened, what the results were, what the commentary from the legislators that are there. And I can say that, and I mentioned this a long time ago, if you recall that certain people that I know had meetings with AGs going back 2.5 years ago. So some of those AGs who don't exist now because, from the previous election, but some other ones are going to come forward. And I would say somewhere around October 25th, you're going to see some things come into the public forum that will be very, very significant for all of us.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much,
That's
Frank.
it.
Thank you so much for that update, Frank, and it's a lot. Are you getting closer to getting Martin on?
Well, here's what. He just got back from being overseas, and his focus right now is this and working on what I talked about that's hopefully going to happen, before the end of this month. So just hang tight. And the other part is I actually feel that, his right hand man in all the stuff that we're doing is Stanford Graham. I have a better opportunity of getting Stanford to come on to go through all the things that David can and report to, because Stan's involved in all this too.
All right, well, let's coordinate that. And thank you so much for sharing what's going on in your state tonight, Frank. We appreciate you as always.
You bet.
All right, let's see who else is here. Put in the main stage before we go. We're going to go an intel round in 5 minutes. So those that haven't spoke yet, raise your hands. I'm trying to unmute a lot of people, so if I'm unmuting you, try to hit the button. There's some people that I'm not familiar with, and I don't know if you're trolls or not. So there's a Tina, there's a Sam, there's a Mark. That might mean Mark Hawaii. I don't know, but send me in the chat. There's a Rosa Mileno. That's a bad one, I think. Thought we got rid of these people. All right. Ron Nevada is up. He's pissed. He's upset about what's going on in the country. Tell us, Ron, what's your update and where are you hiking at this week?
Didn't go hiking. But what I do know of is that the ACLU of Nevada attempts to stop the purge of nearly 20,000 registered voters. So they're trying to clean the rolls here in Nevada, and the ACLU is trying to stop that from happening. The other thing that I read about is that the Republican organization is going to stop funding behind Sam Brown specifically, and they're going to do a more dispersed. They're going to put their money into a more dispersed way of reaching more people, but they said they were going to stop targeting, for helping Sam Brown specifically, and try to spread out the money that they do have to help a wider variety of people. So I haven't heard anything on the radio from Sam Brown at all. And I don't watch television.
Are you losing faith?
So I can't comment on
faith in Mr. Brown? Because that seems to be the cadence. Is he's not really showing up.
He's an MIA. And that's the thing. He was MIA during the primaries, and people were going, "Hey, you're MIA," and he's MIA now during the election time. And here I'm hearing that the GOP is going to stop focusing on, putting a whole bunch of support behind him, and they're going to disperse the support, which is kind of, unfortunate to hear, but I haven't heard anything from him. So I'm very disappointed in that. So those are the two things that I know that are going on in Nevada, aside from one of the former judges who was a Trump supporter and a Bundy supporter. She just got convicted of doing some bad things in a federal crime, and so she's going to be going to jail. And they sent that lady, I forget her name, but she got 9 years up in Colorado. She was the whistleblower up there, and I think that she got railroaded, and they're gonna send her to jail for 9 years. Because she blew the whistle on what was going on with the Dominion voting machines.
Wow.
And so that's a sad thing there. Yeah, and it was a real corrupt court proceedings and everything else. And all she was trying to do is she was trying to show what was going on and how corrupt these voting machines were, and all the people in power came down on her. And yeah, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. So anyhow, I forget her name, but she got 9 years.
This weekend.
All right.
I'm hearing some interference here.
Thanks for the update there, Ron, and we appreciate you as always. So, Teresa, Washington, and then Sandra, Nevada, on deck after Teresa. Teresa, what's the update in Washington?
Hi, I'm sorry. I do not have any updates locally. I did provide an update last week regarding some of the problems with the ballots and a lot of issues in our state. But as you can imagine, sadly, there's a lot of blue on the west side, but we are red on the east side, and we'll continue to work towards, participating when the voting time comes as poll watchers and so forth. Beyond that, I don't really have any local updates. Just been, watching, supporting for, and praying for our Eastern friends during all of this.
Oh,
pretty sad.
We heard that there was a random earthquake off of the coast there in the Pacific.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how random. We've got a lot of HARP up in the northwest above us where we came from in Alaska, and we have the apparatus in the Pacific out in the ocean. So, it's anybody's guess. But yeah, we don't think it's just a natural phenomenon.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for coming tonight. I know you guys have a busy time right now, but thanks for coming tonight.
Yes, thank you, and thanks for what you're doing. We're grateful, and we'll get on that Give Send Go. We love that platform because so much money doesn't go to administrative costs as it does with other fundraising platforms. So
yes,
thank you.
And that reminds me, it's givesendgo.com/RedAmericaFirst/donate. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Teresa.
you both.
Sandra, Nevada, and then we'll go straight to Rob an intel round. I've tried to unmute all kinds of people. They're just ignoring me, and that's fine. Sandra, what's your update, and how you doing, sister?
Okay, there's a couple things this week that happened that was pretty interesting. One day I woke up and I couldn't make any phone calls or texts. And the phone had internet, but it wasn't capable of making calls. And I was with Verizon. I later found out that they had an outage nationally, nationwide. And then a couple days after that, I think a day or two after that, Bank of America site was down too. So you would go to your account and it would just show a couple of dashes for your balance. It didn't show any numbers.
Yeah.
Really weird.
It really freaked out a lot of people, didn't it?
So that lasted on, pretty much. Well, that was not as long as the Verizon thing, but all that just makes me wonder if they're doing some sort of conversion, of the software or whatever, because that would be the only explanation for throwing such a large amount of people down like that. If they're doing some kind of conversion, which I don't know what kind of conversion they would be doing, but it's possible. But anyway, also, I'm gonna work voting day for 14 hours. For $200.
Well, can we get Sandra Nevada?
Something I want to talk to her about.
Whoa, Make it fast, because Rob
Well,
will
I just wanted to say that I saw something about the sphere out there in Las Vegas, and when they slowed it down, you know how it has all these messages and stuff. Well, when they slowed it down, they were putting out subliminal messaging on the sphere. Have you seen it or heard about it?
I don't really go around that area, but the last time that I did was probably a few weeks ago. And I really don't get to see it that much, but I did see that it was flash. It would flash words here and there, and I thought it was a little odd. Yeah, it did strike me as that kind of thing when I went past it. I was like, I'm not too sure about that video stimulation for people. I don't know what's going on with that, but you know damn well that something can if they wanted to,
Yeah, totally.
So,
yeah, just thought I'd bring that up because I was like, I wonder if Sandra saw that or Holly or anybody.
Yeah, it's constantly, it's different. It's all different all the time. It's weird.
Well, thank you for that input, Sandra, and we'll definitely have to talk with you because there's some activities you could do at Red America First, but we'll talk with your sister real quick. She's unmuted now. Sabina, what did you think about tonight, and do you got any updates with Texas? And then Kat, New Jersey's on deck, and then Rob Ohio's going to kick off the intel.
Yeah, so it was pretty interesting. These people talking about what was going on. I think it's horrible what happened. And these people are. I just think the weather. I think they're controlling the weather. When that hurricane came over through Texas, that Beryl hurricane, it was weird because when it came through Houston, it kind of held the strength even after it hit the land. I don't understand why it's holding such strength after it hits the land an hour and 15 minutes away, I'm inland. But anyway, I just think that they're messing around with weather, and I think it's crazy. We're up against some really evil stuff right now, As far as Harris County, our taxes, our property taxes are going to go up by 10%.
Oh my gosh.
10%?
Yes, 10%. Yeah, it's crazy.
I would leave.
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, they're giving themselves a 10% raise. The commissioners are.
Oh my gosh.
It's ridiculous. I mean, we're up against a lot of evil stuff here in Harris County, but it's Ken Paxton, Attorney General Ken Paxton. I keep seeing him post stuff on X like he's suing Big Pharma, he's suing TikTok, he's suing Secretary of State for the voter integrity. So I see that, but I'm not seeing anything happen from it, so who knows? It's a crazy world that we live in right now. I feel like there's so much information coming through right now. It's information overload. When you ask me, what's going on, there's so much information that I'm reading on X, left and right all day long while I'm working. And I just can't even keep up with it all,
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, there's probably 50 stories that we would have to juggle in any given 2 hours. And I try to post as much as I can, and I can't even keep up, guys. The minute I post something, there's 7 new stories, and they're all critical to post. So I got to pick, okay, out of these 7, which one do I want to share with everybody? Because the minute I work on that,
7 more pile in.
12 more pile. It's just like never ends.
Yeah. And that Diddy stuff, I posted the diddler. I posted, that list that came out, but I don't even know that that's a valid list because I think there are a lot more politicians that should be on that list. And I didn't go through it all the way, but from what I understand, it's missing 1 through 8. So I don't know that that's even valid, but all that Diddy stuff is crazy too.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, right? That's coming out with that stuff. But you're
will
right.
it ever be recorded, So who knows?
Well, next week it's going to be all about health and we're doing it two-faced. One, we're going to have some people coming on from a holistic perspective, and then we're going to have someone come on to warn us about what WHO is trying to do with the bird flu. So get ready for that. Last person, Connecticut, Kat, and then we're going to give the floor to Rob, an open mic session. So those that are still watching the live stream, we go into what's called the open mic intel. And anyway, go ahead, Kat. Tell us what's going on in Connecticut.
Well, we're still paying for our electric grid here for the electric cars. The Republicans are a minority in the state, but they tried to force the Democrats to hold a special session on it, and they turned it down. So we're stuck paying for it. But the only good thing on that is it's flipping a lot of people to our side. So if you can pick a light in the dark, that might be it. Another interesting tidbit that I caught today was that same electric company had purchased. Has it all been falling apart here offshore? And they just sold it. So back to BlackRock. So I found that to be really interesting, given it
Well, we don't like BlackRock.
No, we do not.
State Street.
Well, Kat, what did you think of tonight? Did you like tonight?
Tonight was a good night. I was really interested in seeing other people's perspective on the hurricane. A few months ago, or maybe a month and a half ago, we had a town up here in Connecticut that has never been really affected by floods that got washed out by 16 inches of rain. And I can't even imagine, given what I've seen hit those areas down south.
Wow.
You know, I've had friends that, you know, their children were missing, and thank God they found them and they're safe. But everybody I've been in touch with so far has been okay. But like my heart is just ripped apart every day. And I've seen your guests, the videos of your guests. So I was familiar with some of the work they've been doing, and it's great stuff.
Yeah, thanks. We strive to try to bring the best here to share information. That's our goal, really, because we're lied to in every category that exists to humanity. So thank you, Cap, for your update, and please come every week and try to bring some.
I'm excited about next week too.
Yeah, try to bring some.
I'm excited about next week too. I am doing my best here, you know, to try and spread the word and like spoon feed people, because that's how you really have to do it up here. If you hit them with everything up front, they just don't accept it. But what I've always said is if you could find a common, like the economy is something that affects everybody. If our kids get drafted, that affects all of us that have children of draft age. So I try and find those common denominators and sprinkle out the news that way to pull people over.
It's a good way to do it.
Awesome. So thank you for that, Kat. Rob, Ohio, you now have the deck, the floor. I mean, we don't see your camera, but
yeah, my computer's messing up. Just give me it. There we go. It was on, but it wasn't showing anything.
So I just want to tell you in advance that I appreciate you coming up with these topics for open mic session. We're very blessed to have this help because, believe me, we're working on a lot of things, so we'll forget some things, and you're kind of helping us not forget those things. So I'm going to give you the floor. Those that are watching the live stream, I have to end it for the members to have open mic session. Please tune in to RedAmericaFirst.com every Thursday night, except Halloween this year and Thanksgiving. Every other Thursday, we'll have you guys visit us. And thank you so much. We're gonna give open mic to Rob Ohio.